Today's writing lesson, our learning intention is I am learning to write a narrative in the style of a creation story. To be successful, I will be able to explain the purpose of a creation story, and I can describe the parts of a narrative and use them to write a creation story. Have you ever wondered how the world was created? Or perhaps how the animals and people were created? Many different cultures have different beliefs and they share their stories of how the world was created and how people came to be. In a minute, I'd like you to pause the video and I want you to open up the other document that looks like this. There are 5 different links inside this document. Each link is related to a creation story from lots of different cultural backgrounds. The videos only go for about 2 or 3 minutes, so it won't take too long. But please note that these stories are not aligned to your teacher's personal beliefs and have been sourced from the internet. Some of these stories may not be exactly how your family or your culture passes on the story. What is important, however, is that we teach the children to be respectful of everybody's beliefs and cultures, and therefore we have tried to include a variety of different creation stories to highlight that there is not just one story about creation. So I hope you've watched all of those now, and I'd like you to think about what the main message or the lesson was in each of these stories. If you said each of these stories was thinking about how the world was created and how man or humans came to be, you are right. I'd like you to brainstorm what are some ideas that you might have to write for your own creation story. It doesn't have to be the creation of the world. That might be a bit tricky. So we're going to do something that might be a little bit easier. But we could, if we wanted to, write a creation story about the world, land, humans, or some specific animals. So why don't we look at some animals now that might help you to think about your own creation story. Here we go. Perhaps you could write about snakes. Perhaps they had legs to start with, and now they don't. I wonder why. Zebras have beautiful stripes on them. How did they get those? Elephants have huge ears. They're interesting. I wonder how they got those. And the lion. He's the king of the jungle. How did he become so glorious to rule the jungle as the king? And the peacock that has a bunch of eyes in their feathers looking at everyone. And of course, our 8-legged octopus. I wonder how he got 8 legs. So to write your own creation story, we need to think about lots of things, and they're all the different parts of a narrative. Of course, we need a title, an orientation, which is what the story is about. We need to have characters and a setting. Of course, every story has a beginning, middle, and end, and each creation story has a lesson. Do you remember yesterday and last week we talked about the lesson, and this is the main message that comes across in the story. So for our activity today, you will write the date and the IAL at the top of your page. I am learning to write a narrative in the style of a creation story. And today we're going to do our plan. So of course we need a title. As an example, I'm going to fill one in here using the story from yesterday. The title was How the Birds Got Their Colours. We then, of course, need to write the orientation, which is this story is about how the birds got their colours. Can you remember who the characters were in that story? That's right. They were the birds, the parrot and the crow. But of course, the story was set in the Australian outback. So today, everybody needs to choose an animal, and that animal is going to be the one that you are going to write a creation story about. Everyone will need to write a title for their story. Blue group, when you've done your title, I want you to draw a picture to match your creation story that shows the characters and the setting. Yellow group, you will write the title and characters of your story and then draw a picture to match that, including the characters and the setting. Yellow group, you will write the title, the orientation, and the characters for your story. You will then draw a picture to match that shows the characters and the setting. And then green group, you'll be completing the whole plan. You'll be writing the title, the orientation, characters, and setting for your story. Please draw a picture to match that, including the characters and setting. To be successful today, you'll be able to explain the purpose of a creation story, and you'll be able to describe the parts of a narrative to use them to write your own creation story. Have fun!